Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video. Y'all, I hope that you guys had a wonderful day. Mine was pretty peaceful. I didn't have anybody bothering me except the clients. Like, clients don't bother me really. They just, during tax season, people ask, in my opinion, and maybe it's because of my knowledge, but I don't know if it's the case. And my boss says that we're all arrogant in a way, which we are. And I think that's why some of the personalities clash a little bit, right? Um, but what I will say is I've gotten better at not being so arrogant about what I know, if that makes sense. Because at H&R Block, y'all, I was a beast. Okay. I didn't care. I don't care about your feelings. I'm getting your tax return done. I'm helping you. Leave me alone. I will provide you good customer service up until you start causing me problems, right? And they're unnecessary problems, usually, at least in my brain, right? But I understand that a lot of people really don't know. But some of the questions are like, let me be clear. I hate when people ask me questions that they can kind of find the answer to, but they're too lazy. So they come to me and ask me. Okay. So if I had to give an example of a silly question, okay, that I hate answering, but I answer anyway, is, you know what? I'm gonna start a FAQ form. I'm gonna start one because I have a website and I'm like, yo, I might as well just do an FAQ of all the silly questions. I am really gonna sit and ponder on this more in depth because I think it would help people to understand, like, I'm gonna need you to help me help you, right? So I get people who ask me questions, and to me, it's a real silly question because if you didn't get it, you didn't get it. But I understand that people don't know, right? And I don't know how other people think, so I can't tell people what they should think and what they shouldn't. Reality says if you did not receive a tax form, then it's not going on the tax return 9 times out of 10, right? Now, obviously, you need supporting documents. Like if you just sold a home, right? We need closing docs. We need, closing docs, basically purchase date, purchase price, right? Stuff like that. But as far as like, you'll send, like, what I'm noticing is, and I don't know, I can't remember what it was like at H&R Block, right? But we send an entire list of documents that we may think you need as a result of your previous year's tax return. And it's a full list. It tells you exactly what forms are needed. Um and then people will come and ask me, "Well, I don't have that form." Is that okay, or do I need to give you something else? Like, it always tickles me inside when I see people hand me like things that are not relevant to the tax return, things that we did not ask for, right? So today I've been dealing with a lot of stuff like that. And what I mean by a lot of stuff is the stuff is time consuming. Okay, I got other things that are more important, but I got to stop and exercise a level of customer service so the person knows that I'm not ignoring them. But to me, you're not priority. The priority customer is the one that's getting their return done, and or I need questions. You're not a priority at that moment. You're a priority, obviously during tax season, but not at that moment, right? So I, I dealt with a situation today where a man was, he the personalities that we deal with, and I just really had to really appreciate this. I'm gonna be honest. I do appreciate being able to work with many different um clients, but I am a bad cop in a sense for a reason, if that makes sense. Okay. So I don't do the lack of accountability and conversation because everybody's licenses are on the line. I don't think people really understand that tax preparers, at least where I am, we're certified, and we're certified in other things related to our tax certifications and licenses, right? So we have to do the returns, won't like we have to ensure basically that we're not putting our licenses on the line, which means that we have to move in a different way than the average tax preparer. Okay, that's just what it is. Okay, so during this process, I'm let's just say this. During this process, I have been in communication with a person. Now, keep in mind, I reached out, we were told what we needed from this client, right? Kind of, I would say about a week before, maybe a week and a half before I reached out. Okay. And I get that's frustrating. But in my position, I manage about 600 or 700 clients. Okay. And in that process, I also have to ensure that each client, if we do not file the return on time by the deadline, that all of their extensions are filed by the first of each, or wait, by, excuse me, yeah, the first of each deadline month, right? And because we moved, because of all these things that were going on, we were not able to, things have just kind of been weird. Okay, let's put it that way, obviously. And so this individual, and not only that, when we're doing businesses, there's separate returns. The businesses have to get done in order for the personals to get done. Okay. And during the deadline season, our priority shifts, right? So if you're a personal return and we know we have until April 15th to file, right? We're going to put the business returns ahead because their deadlines are March 15th. But the average customer is so used to going to an H&R Block that they don't know that when you come with us, you're getting a better quality, well-prepared return. But at the same time, it may take a little longer. And the reason it takes a little longer is because you're getting that quality return, and or we may be asking for a lot of things in this person's case that their other preparer was not asking for. And as I explained to the client, because this is the thing, I reached out to the client. I think it was like last Friday, right? And I asked the client, I said, "Hey, look, this is what we need from you. I knew that they probably weren't going to be able to retrieve it, but I still have to ask. Those things are documented just in case we're ever audited for any reason. Okay." And so it was very imperative for me to it was very imperative for me to contact, um like I said, this person and ensure that I got what I needed. Now on Friday, this person did not respond. And I do not work in the office on Fridays. I've kind of made it my thing where I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this no more. I need to be able to work from home because they get on my nerves. Okay. So I didn't tell anybody anything. I just put my note where it needed to be. Okay. Um, and I so it's funny because Monday I come in and I see that I had a voicemail. And it's from this same individual, and I'm trying to get an understanding of what was going on. So I give them a call back, and they're like, "We have some we've got some concerns." Now, keep in mind that the first time I met this individual, um, I did an initial meeting with them, kind of went over the process, went through some items that I know we needed to get the job done. And I explained to them that the average goal at that time was about 2 weeks. Okay. Give or take, which means there is not a set deadline as to when you get your return, right? Because really, it's about the client working with us and us working with the client and us getting back to the client as quickly as possible, right? So in that case, I did mess up, right? But it's still good. I mean, because I put everybody off. Today I was going through all of my emails and I'm like, dang, I didn't respond to this person for like a whole 2 weeks. And the intention is, well, again, I have other priorities to focus on, not the 1040 return. I don't know that clients know that. And I don't know how to like tell them that in a way that's not going to hurt their feelings, because everybody feels like they're a priority at tax. But that's why you pay a professional, right? Because a professional knows what they're doing. But a lot of times people, it's like, even though I'm paying you to do the job, and I was referred to you by so and so, and you're obviously a decent size, firm, I'm still going to question you every step of the way. And this is their first year, so it's expected, right? But my thing is this. They were very, what I say, the word is neurotic. And I don't know if that's the right term, but I feel like that's the right term. That's how I've been describing this wife of this man. And it was so interesting because we're in this meeting and the man is just like shushing her and like, because he's trying to get her to like chill the fuck out, right? Every time I would talk, she would cut me off. Every time I'm trying to give her an answer or help her out with something, she would just disappear. You know what I mean? Not disappear, y'all. My bad. She would, it's almost like I felt like I was on defense, but not having to be on defense kind of deal. So I had to really watch myself, but at the same time, let her know, lady, you gotta let me talk. You gotta let me help you, help me help you. It was ridiculous. It was a weird meeting. And then supposedly after I got off the phone with them, the people who met my boss and then met with him, right? And I say my boss, but y'all know the relationship there. But they had met with the people. They ended up coming in last Friday. And so everybody sat down and they told them what they needed to get the return done, what we needed to get the return done. Okay. So they already know, they were sitting home with a checklist. They know what to do because it was communicated to them, and there was a witness in the room to help to communicate that to them, right? So I get in, I don't know that they're being met with. That's another story. That's neither here nor there. I called the guy. The guy's like, yeah, so I spoke with so-and-so and they told me that we could do this and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, bro, if you already talked to them, like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Why are you calling me this Monday before we're even in the office? I don't get into the office until 10 a lot of the time. So why are you calling me at 7, 8 in the morning? Right? Like, it be stuff like that. Like, you know damn well I'm not in. I mean, you may not know, but you just talked to these people Friday. What are you doing? Right? So I sent him an email. He never responded to the email, but sent me a voicemail talking about he had concerns. But you just talked to the owner and the lead, right, for the team. I guess how much has changed from Friday to Monday when the office is not really open Saturday and Sunday? How does that work? Explain it to me. So that annoyed me, but that's fine. I called the guy back and I said, listen, because really I didn't even know that they had spoken with him. So my thing was, okay, let me talk to my team, because now that I'm hearing you tell me that you had talked to them, let me get with my team. Let me see what was discussed and we'll follow up from there. Now, my thing is, at the same time, if they told you they need X, Y, and Z, I just feel like you just need to give me what they asked for. Like, there's nothing for me to follow up on. They already told you what you needed. So you're not priority. It's the reality of it, and 9 times out of 10, I'm not really going to follow up in that way because I don't feel like I have to. I feel like I got other things to do. And that's just understanding priorities. Now, from the client standpoint, he sends me a long email today. Okay, a long email. And he goes into how he sent us the items that we need and he's got concerns and how come, why is the return taking so long? You told us 2 weeks, yada, yada, yada. And then keeps going on. And no, like, I'm not trying to be like, obviously, I didn't explain a lot to him. But in my mind, I'm like, bro, like, this is, and keep in mind, I already had this conversation with them. But my thing was, he doesn't, I responded to you at this day, right? This is what the preparer is telling me they need. I responded to you. I reached out to you. You met with so and so on this day, right? And you're just getting me this stuff today. So when we talk about time, I'm going to need you to be on time too. You see what I'm saying? Really reiterating to the guy, listen, okay, you can feel how you want to feel, but I know what's being done internally, right? And as long as a communication is occurring between all of us and we're all on top of what we need to take care of, it's not that big of a deal. It's a big deal because you want your return done, right? But it's not a big deal in the sense of being in any sort of trouble with the IRS. And I think that's where a lot of people come from, but they'll hound you when it's important to them. But when you need something, you calling me to tell me your concerns about, he didn't even express any concerns last time I talked to him. But then he sends an email to me. He sends an email to my boss, or no, he just sent an email to me and it's a long book. And so I CC'd my manager in my response. Like, we're not going to do this. Let's have an open discussion. And then he sent me an email. He says, well, thank you for the detailed email. I just think a lot of this could have been communicated from the beginning. Well, dude, I'm not doing your return. I don't know the ins and outs of your return, and I don't have time to really review everything so much in depth to the point where I'm asking you for now the non-basic items. So if you don't have a depreciation schedule, that's not on us. That's on your previous preparer. That's on the previous accountant. And if you do not have a depreciation schedule, then we kind of need to figure out why and what we can do to rectify the situation. Pointing fingers is not the answer, right? And so I was real proud of myself about how I responded to that, because I love responding to people like that. Like, I love it. And a lot of times, again, if you're on the other side and you don't really know what's going on, of course, you're going to feel like, you're being ignored. But the reality for me is I'd rather just get the return done. So the last question or I need more information. And if you already talked to the owner and the tax manager, in my opinion, that's all you should be dealing with. Like, it should, at that point, I shouldn't even be handling none of it. They jumped in. So I felt like, it wasn't that I was ignoring them. I had tried to pass it off, but the guy put it back in my lap. The client put it back in my lap. And so I was like, okay, let me handle this one. So it's stuff like that all day, but sometimes it's not even that. It's how to use the software, how to do, like, I be getting tired, man, mentally drained. And sometimes I just think people are just, they're people. Okay. That's, that's all I can say. But that dude understood what I was saying, because at the very end of my email, so professional, but it was long, it was detailed, right? I could have even got more detailed with the timestamps, okay? But I didn't. right? But I let them know, like, bro, you've been talking to people. It's not like you haven't been in communication with people. Now, maybe during that spurt, but why is it taking you to just now to reach out to me? You know what I mean? So my thing is this, it wasn't a priority until it became a priority. And some returns are a priority. The client may want to buy a house, or well, that's usually where I see it, right? And or the client may owe money or whatever to the IRS. So in those instances, yes, them returns are a little bit more important. And unfortunately, all my preparers are like, they got at least, I mean, no, they got some like the returns are pouring in now. They're pouring in. And the poor preparers, you know, they just, I don't know, they just, you know, they're swamped a little bit. And so I have been taking the pedal off the gas, right? So they can get caught up, so we can clear the returns, so I can throw a ton more on their board. And it's just been crazy. It's been an interesting ride. But that's what I deal with every day. If it's not a person like that, it's a person who is maybe you are on top of it, right? But like they don't understand the concept that I'm just a middleman. I'm not really just a middleman, but I am to some degree. If the preparer is saying, hey, look, I need X, Y, and Z, then it's my job to reach out to you to get that and get supporting documents if needed. So it's very interesting to see how people operate under pressure, right? I had a guy reach out to me. Supposedly he talked to the tax manager. I don't know. Maybe there's certain clients that really rock with me a little bit better. That's what I'm thinking. But I had a client ask me today about the Tabor refund, right? In Colorado. And he was like, so do you know when I'll get my Tabor, or if I'll get my Tabor refund? And there's a note that says that he spoke with the tax manager to go through the return. So I'm thinking, you already had this conversation 9 times out of 10. You probably already had it. So the guy turned around and I'm like, I'm telling him, right? Yeah, you know. And he tells me off the rip, he's like, I told him, I said, listen, your Tabor refund is there. That's why people are getting such a large state refund this year. They're getting, no offense, Colorado's paying okay. These refunds are coming out okay. But it's so funny to me how people, it's like, you know, you got it. You're just reaching out to me to get reassurance that you're going to get it. So before you ask me how much, I'm just answer it. So I don't gotta answer. Those are silly. Like, to me, they're not. And I don't mean silly in the person is dumb. These people are very intelligent people. But when I say silly, I guess I mean, is mundane the word? I don't know what I want to say with that, because silly might not be the right word, right? In terms of how people will perceive it. But they're little fucking questions, bro, that I'm like, because I have to prepare returns. Like, I've got to actually get the return prepped for the work to be done. So I've got to ensure, and there's so many clients, and then we're adding more clients, and then I got to add those clients into the software. It's a lot. My job moves like this all day. But enough about my job, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. But know that maybe silly is the wrong word. But I swear I'm going to do a FAQ. And then we're going to revisit this. Because in my mind, the questions are what they are. Okay? Not all. I like the in-depth questions. The questions that really are like, okay, you asking me a real question. But for the clients that are not, like, if it's stupid shit, you could have Googled the Tabor refund. You can Google it. But you rather take my time knowing that it's fucking tax season. Fuck. That should be irking my nerves, man. I got a lady right now who wants me to send her. She said she wants me to send her certain documents that I don't have the time to be sending. Like, that's how fast my job moves. My time is valuable. Very valuable right now. So to me, those questions irk my nerves. And I think from a tax preparer standpoint, I don't mind chatting with you at an appointment scheduled time. Everybody wants my time and attention right then, right there. I had a guy ask me today, he says, he says, so he calls in for a tax return to be done. Okay. And when he calls in, okay, I was told to take over and really just get them set up and sell them on the, basically tax. Cause I mean, it is what it is. So I call him and I'm like, yo, I get him set up. I'm like, I talk to him, I get him on the phone and we're going through the tax return. But the first thing he said, excuse me, the tax return process, the first thing he says to me is, well, I called you yesterday and you're just getting back to me today. And I was like, don't start with me, homie. Like, in my mind, y'all, I was like, okay, that's how you start off the call. I don't even know you, bro. You didn't call me. I was just told to call you back because you called an inappropriate number. So I'm going to call you. Right. And so what I told him was, well, we really like to get back to you guys as quickly as possible. We have a 24 to 48-hour rule. Boom. Shut the fool up immediately. How dare you talk to me like that? I'm not obligated to call you back. Well, I just found out about you today. And usually what I did is not my job, but I did it because I can do it. Why not? It's easy. So y'all see, sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it's funny to me because people are interesting during tax season. That's all I can say. And it's cool because again, you get to be able to put them in their place. It's like a fine line, right? You got to be able to put them in their place, but you got to do it in a way that's not disrespectful, right? So immediately the guy fell in line. So, and I'm good at sales. So the first thing I said to this man, I said, well, I asked him, I said, once I said what I said, so I'm giving you a call back because I heard you were looking for, some sort of tax work or whatever. And he said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, what were you needing? What's up? And he just goes into conversation or whatever. But he's short with me, right? Because he's mad. You could be mad at me all you want to. This is why I'm in my position, is because I can put people in their place politely. So it was cool day, but it was draining. That's why it was draining. Because again, you're dealing with a lot of them things, and you got to address them because people take it personal, and then they want to leave you a review and all this extra shit, right? So it's just learning how to walk that fine line during tax season, where I'm providing you customer service, but at the same time, you ain't finna be, this ain't H&R Block, bro. And even if it was, okay. So, anywho, I wanted to get to my topic today. It's gonna be really short. But I wanted to touch on this because y'all, I was up at I went to bed and then I woke up at 1 something in the morning, right? And I started going down memory lane and I started revisiting a lot of the people I grew up with, right? And surprisingly, they're all still here in Colorado, okay? Which probably again tells me I should move, right? There's a lot of things that I learned that I'd be realizing, maybe it is time. I mean, I keep saying maybe, but I keep saying it because I know damn well I just don't know when, right? I don't know when it's time. But I know that that needs to be my goal, right? And so I'm thinking these people, when I'm going through their pictures and just kind of seeing what they've been up to, since we were like teens, because it's been 10 years plus for most of them, I just thought it would be fun to just kind of see like where we all at, just what happened to us, right? And so I came across a couple profiles that I was just like, I'm watching, going through their feed and kind of looking at what they're doing, and I'm impressed. I'm like, okay, you're doing something right. Then I look at pictures, and in my mind, it brought me back, like flashbacks a little bit, like made me understand that time truly does reveal a lot. And I think that's why it's very important to take things slow when it's meant to be taken slow versus taking things, too quickly. Okay. The reason I say this is because there were some things that I thought, way back when, and I made decisions based upon what I thought, like what my intuition told me, right? Only to see that my intuition was pretty much correct. And you can see that as it plays out in time, like as really allow time to go by, right? You start to see that, you start to see things a little clearer. And it's very interesting to know that where I'm at today, even with where I'm at today, I still see them situations pretty much the same. Now, am I surprised by some choices of others? Yes. But ultimately, like I said, it's just really, really interesting to see where we are all at now, you know? And so it's cool. If I was talking to them, I'd be like, shout out to y'all. Cause it was cool to see people like, okay, you doing your thing, right? And or you're not doing your thing, whichever or, right? But to know that even then I knew what I was on. I knew what I was thinking. I knew what I was feeling was pretty much on point. So, um, that's how I know I'm realizing that, when you talk about relationships, right? And time and how much time you put into building a relationship and all of these different things, like, and how the time of everything matters because you're getting to know one another, right? Regardless of what that relationship may be. I think is, interesting. I think it makes sense. So that's all I gotta say on the matter, y'all. I told you I was quick, but that was my thought process. So with that being said, I'm out. Peace.